Welcome to these sci-fi guys. I'm your host Dave, and with me always is John and Chad. Today we are going to be talking about the movie I, Robot. That's right, Will Smith's greatest movie ever, right? No, I'm kidding. No, it was a good movie though. But I'm sure we're going to have plenty to discuss today. Just for those of you out there that haven't been watching us in a while, we do a few little segments. We do some questions that we text each other and get us to kind of thinking about the movie. We're going to talk about some plot holes, how we would fix or improve the movie. We're going to give it a rating, 0 to 5 lightsabers, and that's really about it. That's about our whole show. So, with that, let's start off with. All right, so I am not the one that chose the movie this week. Neither did John. This was all Chad.
All me.
All me.
All of just me.
Just me.
So we all watched the original Terminator. I think we all know what the Skynet objectives were.
I'll be back.
Yeah. So what to me is this with Vicky doing about the similar idea of, hey, the humans are doing it wrong. So who do you think that carried those objectives out better, Skynet or Vicky?
Well, we didn't see the conclusion of what Vicky wanted to do. So I'm going to say Skynet. Just because we've seen the future, at least, well, let me rephrase it. You had glimpses of the future when Kyle was talking about it, and it showed different scenes of what happened after Skynet took over. This one is kind of inconclusive because Vicky tried to take over, but you had Will Smith. He just wasn't going to let it happen because he was just he didn't like robots.
Yeah, between Will and Sonny, I think having Sonny probably helped a lot. So I think it was just up to the humans. I think Vicky may have had a better shot at accomplishing her objectives, but the doc there kind of having Sonny step in as well. I think that set them on the right path to actually end her the way they did. And although ultimately, I agree, Skynet definitely carried out the objectives better. I mean, we literally see how that happened and took place and actually came to fruition, whereas Vicky was able to be stopped by 3 people-ish.
Well, 2 in a fantastic.
Well, 2 in a robot, and technically the doctor too, because he set the whole thing in motion. So
that's true.
Yeah,
but you got to remember, you had a Reagan there.
Yeah,
you had Aaron Reagan there.
Dude, I wonder if somebody going to mention Reagan.
And when I started the movie, I was like, I know her from somewhere. Where do I know her from? And I'm like, I know. Like, it's a popular show. It's a popular show. And I didn't even put 2 and 2 together because my wife was just watching Blue Bloods the other day, and I went on IMDb and I was like, duh! Oh, it's Aaron. Okay.
Oh, she came out in 2010. So this is. I was trying when it came out.
Yeah, I think she became Aaron right after this, or
this is 2004.
Before?
This is 6 years before.
Okay.
Because iRobot came out in 2004, Blue Bloods premiered in 2010.
Oh, okay. No, this may have been a kicking off point. Who knows?
Yeah.
She did a good job.
She really did a good job, no matter what. So, with that question I asked, I think, Skynet did a better job by fulfilling its objectives. But you got to think about it. It was more carnage, more, I'm taking over. I don't care about humans. But what you saw in Vicky was, hey, keep the humans inside. I will, if you should be supported, you'll be here. So, but Vicky was non-aggressive about it. They took out the old robots that's going to protect the humans.
Yeah, I don't know if that was planned by Vicky or if it was just payout. Meaning, I know she wanted to replace the NS4s with the NS5s. I know that she wanted to replace them, but I don't know if it was because she knew the NS4s would protect the humans. I don't know if that's the case.
Well,
I just think that she was just trying to replace them and get her own
control.
squad, her own robots in there that she could control.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So why did the Dr. Lanning, and I don't know why my phone said planning on it. I just caught that one. Oh, autocorrect. So Dr. Lanning called Will Smith carries Spooner to his through a hologram. Why do you think the doctor did that instead of just letting it call the regular whoever catch the call?
I mean, they definitely had a good relationship, or at least a relationship before this, some kind of friendship. They knew each other, and I think definitely as we see the story play out, the doctor knew Spooner's feelings on robots as a whole, knew that might be necessary because it seems like the doctor caught on to Vicky's plans at some point, and his entrapment in some way, shape, or form, and so he's like, I know I need Spooner because he's the one who has enough skepticism about these guys to at least look into things. Now, obviously, Spooner calls himself the dumbest dumb person on earth by the end of it because he's like, how did I miss all of this on the front end? But I mean, ultimately, he does catch it and is able to stop. So I think the doctor wanted him because other people wouldn't have given that much care. Like, if the doctor commits, or the doctor dies, and they're just gonna be like, oh yeah, classic suicide and move on. But he stuck it out and sought an answer, and I think the doc knew that he would do that.
Yeah, I agree totally. John said I mean, almost verbatim of what I would have said. That just Spooner just didn't like robots at all. There was the relationship with the doctor and Spooner because I mean his whole arm, couple of ribs, everything was replaced, and he's the one that did it. So, at least that's what they said. We'll get into that more later.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, because I think they had a whole working relationship for Lanning doing to Spooner. So I think he knew that. And well said. So leading into that, why does Spooner does not like robots in this movie? Like he outright didn't like robots. But you saw him change towards the end with Sonny. Like, okay, yeah, I can.
Well, I think he described it when he was saved by a robot. I think that was his big what do you want to call it? Catch up? Not catch up.
Yeah.
What his big hang up was? That's the word. Was that he's like, no, protect the girl, save the girl, not me. When the robots basically figured out, hey, you have a 60% chance to survive. She has a 20% chance.
Yeah.
And I really think he had a problem with that. I know you didn't ask this question, but I probably would have said, what would you guys want? Would you guys like walking around and seeing robots everywhere? I mean, I don't know. I just don't know if I could, if it was a slow burn, something that slowly was a progression, probably it'd be okay. At least in our minds we would be, except for those of us that would be skeptical, saying no, we don't need this. But yeah, I just think that he had seen enough from robots, and then and it didn't, he's like, save the girl, don't save me. I've lived a full life, So I think that was his big issue. That was his. John, how about you?
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. It just comes down to that deep-seated trauma he had from that like one moment, and and the robots don't understand heroics; they just understand their statistics, and so it's the fact that in following their laws, their statistics, they saved him, and he just absolutely did not like that, did not want to live with that, did not want to live with the consequences of that, but he had to, and then literally faced with it every day, like you said, robots all around, all the time. And the only thing that's going to do is, make him respond to that mentally, just because I mean it's literally in his face all day. Yeah, I wouldn't like him either if I had to remember that event every day for my life, just because these robots are hanging out all around. And in the long run, it makes sense. it is a little, I think, deeper than it necessarily had to be. But I think part of that too, we didn't really know how long ago that happened per se. Obviously, within the NS4 generation of robots, and however long they had been around, but we don't know, if I remember correctly, how long it was since that.
Those
actually
look pretty old. A lot of those robots look pretty.
I don't think they updated the robots like until just NS5 was coming out, and I think it was a rush job with it. And to me, he might hung up on that one issue, but I think there was a longer issue before that. I think he just didn't feel like robots should be there because he didn't really like them. I don't think he just saved the girl, but did he really want the robot? Because he preferred to drive by like manual drive. I think he was old school on this.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. He definitely was old school. I mean, when he said, hey, check out my Converse high tops, Sierra 2004, year the movie came out. Yeah. So and of course he had an old motorcycle that ran on gasoline, something obviously that wasn't around, So yeah, I think you're right, Chad. I think that has a lot to do with it, that it was something deep seated with him liking the olden days and not, when she was in there saying play, trying to get his MP3 player to play and she's using voice commands and he's like, and then she finally figures out to push it. Yeah.
So Dave, you had a question because my last question was I think it should be because it kind of goes on what we hold on. Never mind. So would you rather have Sonny the NS, like if you had to choose a robot to be in your house, would you rather have Sonny, the NS5 one, the one that had the 3 laws where I could choose to break the laws, or the old NS4 robots? Which one would y'all prefer?
I think I would prefer the NS4 just because the NS5 they scared me. The face just looks too funky, I didn't like the whole face, and it looked too realistic. Like it was trying to be human, but at the same time it wasn't. I mean, it's a robot. Let it be a robot. Let it look like a robot. I want Optimus Prime. Okay, if I'm going to have one, I want one that looks like a Transformer or one of these robots that Voltron or one of the Shogun Warriors or something. That's what I want it to look like. I don't want it to look kind of like. I mean, if you put clothes on the thing and a hat, it can probably pass for a human, and I don't want that. Yeah, that's just me personally. But John.
As the owner of many dumb robots, I really like the idea of a robot for each job as opposed to one robot that can do every job. So if we're going to go with that idea, I'd rather go with the quote-unquote dumber NS4. Like you said, Dave, the NS5 really creeps me out. I don't really like the uncanny valleyness of it because it's almost a human with just slightly transparent body enough that it's a robot, and that's just a little too close for me. I like that's definitely a robot, and it gets stuff wrong sometimes, like maybe it didn't quite do the job the way I wanted, but hey, at least I know it's a robot and I know it's not going to kill me in my sleep. I much prefer that option.
Yeah, I agree. I want the older I'd rather see the NS4 so the NS5 because the face creeped me out. It looked too realistic. Like, why would you? I mean, why put eyeballs? At least eyeball. Like you can. It follows you. It tracks. I'm like, yeah, no, sorry. Give me the. So, my last one before we get to David's question, he put in there. Why didn't Robertson figure all this out? Lennon knew something was up, but why didn't Robertson see it coming before he got killed?
Typical CEO pride.
Well, I don't think he got killed. They were making it look like they were putting him on the couch at the end. So I'm not sure he got killed. But at the same time, it's all about, that's what they're looking at. He's looking at bottom dollar.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, if they can make it more efficient, they can do this. Oh, we can do updates. I mean, he's just thinking big picture. He wasn't looking at, he probably didn't have one in his house. You know, he's probably like a politician that says, "Hey, we're going to make these laws, but I'm not going to live by them." You know?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's for sure it. I mean, he wasn't real concerned about the overall idea, and like Dave said, he just wanted money. He's at the top of the company. Hey, let's just do what we need to overall. And even then, it didn't really seem like he was too phased by even the breaking of the three laws, because it's like, oh, maybe that can be useful. Maybe we could sell that to someone. And I don't necessarily think he didn't see the idea of the robots coming. I think he was a little blindsided by Vicky being behind it per se.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but you think he would have been more excited about Sonny? Like, really? Oh, it didn't do this. You know, I know he was in cover-up mode, but you think they would have said, "Okay, hey, we got to figure out why he did this." You
Yeah.
know, to make
Yeah.
sure that the next generation doesn't do it. You know, don't just go to the he's going to Aaron and say, "Hey, Aaron, destroy it." Well, I would be like, okay, why did it do that? So we can make sure that our current models aren't doing the same thing, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So that was my last question. Dave, you want to ask yours?
yeah, I got one. I know we usually we have one person does them all, but my question is, okay, there's three laws. First law: a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. Second law: a robot must obey the orders given to it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And the third law states a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. My question is this enough? When you're building an artificial intelligence, because basically that's what these are, is that enough laws, or can that be sustainable? Obviously, Vicky showed it can't be, but in essence, do you think it's not a movie in real life? If we were to build robots and we gave them those three laws first, is that enough?
I say, you want the long or the short answer, Dave?
I don't care. We're not getting paid for this. We're having fun. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, it comes down to a lot of things. I think if the law is absolutely unbreakable, I think to the point that even people who would misuse robots could intentionally make robots break that law, I think those three are adequate. But I think, as we all know, that isn't going to happen. Somebody's going to get a hold of a robot and use it for nefarious purposes and make sure they break even their own rules they're set up on. So unless we have an absolutely unbreakable side of that, I don't think those necessarily are enough. I'm watching a show right now called Sunny that kind of deals with that concept of a robot that can think on their own versus the robots that can't, which is kind of ironic considering Sunny and Sunny. But on the whole, it sounds really good if they're unbreakable, but then you run into problems like the classic trolley problems, the problems with why cars aren't autonomous yet. Like, should this car avoid hitting the pedestrians and in the middle of the crosswalk and cause a wreck, or should it, hit the pedestrians in the crosswalk and not cause the wreck? Which is more important? And there's a lot of decisions there that just can't be weighed out. And to program a lot of that, you really have to think through the problems on the front end. And so I think the laws don't handle enough of the questioning behind that would have to be programmed at least on the front end. Long term, you create AI that can think through those things, maybe, but even then, it gets real dicey. So no, I don't think they're enough.
No, I think that the three laws are very vague. Because you saw Dr. Landon even did this Sonny to follow the laws, but also gave it the gray area to bend them and break them just to serve a purpose. But thing is, even say like the robots did follow the laws and they did all this. There's people out there that the nefarious minds will, I wonder how this works, how it operates. They'll figure a way to get in there and jailbreak it and program and do their own stuff. So I don't think the 3 laws is very is there. It needs to be more and more explained and programmed in the front end.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I don't think that the 3 are enough, and I think the problem is the first law. The first law itself is very vague. Think about it. Or I'm going to go back to the drowning scenario, right? So the drowning scenario that we had, the robot cannot just stand there and do nothing, correct? Because of the first law. The first law says, I can't injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. That's the problem right there. So, in essence, it did. In Spooner's case, he saved Spooner, but the girl died. Right?
Yeah.
Because of the choice that he made, the robot itself made. So, that's what I'm saying is it is. If you were just to say those 3 laws, it would not be enough, just because that first law is already ambiguous as it is, and there's too much. Honestly, that first robot should have just gone into like froze up or locked down or something, because it shouldn't have had to. It should not be able to make that decision. But at the same time, it should have tried to save them both if it could. You know what I'm saying? It just the way it's worded, it's kind of no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know it was kind of deep. I know it was a deep question. So now we'll get into something more fun. Our favorite aspect of this is plot holes. Well, we love to look for movies to say, oh, this was wrong. I don't understand this. I can't see this. How did this happen? Last week on Avatar, how did she paint her helicopter blue? And it had time to dry, like that. So, did you guys see anything that just kind of jumped right out at you? Like, oh, this was a big plot hole, and it just smacked you inside the face, or did you just kind of see some little stuff here and there? Most of the stuff I saw were kind of little here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there weren't really a whole lot of blaring holes in this movie like we've seen in some. I mean, they did a pretty good job either keeping the story simple enough not to have them, or just, kind of covering the past well enough that they at least answer the question in a way that you didn't have to have more information. So it kind of kept the story going. So I didn't really notice a whole lot.
A very convenient plot hole, if there was any. Because, I mean, to me, it's like he pulls up to Dr. Landon's house. Big old demolishing robot was there. You all saw it change, but it's like, I'm like, why wait till 8 a.m. to demolish the house? Just do it.
Do it immediately. And then the second thing is, why haven't you cleaned it out?
Yeah.
Get rid of the stuff in the inside. I mean, you're just going to demolish it and just for nothing? I mean, and then what about his will? I mean, I'm assuming he would have a will to leave that to somebody else. A child, a grandchild, a nephew, niece, aunt, cousin, sister, brother, whatever. But of course it doesn't get into that.
No. So
that's good, Chad. I did not even think about that until you mentioned it.
Well, I mean, I've seen this movie probably 2 or 3 years after it came out, or right the year of it, but I didn't catch it then. And when watching it, I was like, why is that there? Like, why don't we go ahead and demolish it? Other than just for movie's sake. Hey, I'm just going to show them, hey, it changed. Like Vicky saw Spooner in the house. Okay.
What changes from AM to PM?
PM, yeah. But the other one I saw was, it's not really a plot. I think it was just more convenient plot hole with having taking the hologram to the old, to the bridge and playing it there. Remember? He's like, hey, so why he kept asking.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. He's like, is that the right question? That's not the right question. And then they're playing it. Well, yeah, that makes that. I think that kind of makes sense, because he even says that's the right question at the beginning, and then so he's asking questions and trying to think about this stuff, but didn't get an answer. And then when they went and did it, near. Was that supposed to be the Golden Gate Bridge?
It's supposed to be, but it's you read the
How is that
description.
by Lake Michigan?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, this is Michigan.
I mean, I don't know. No, it wasn't the Golden Gate because it did say Chicago at the beginning. It did. It said Chicago 2058 or something like that.
Yeah,
at the beginning.
Yeah,
So
but
that
also
must have been another bridge going from Chicago. I don't know. I've never been to Chicago. So.
I've never been to Chicago. I don't remember even a bridge looked like a Golden Gate. Besides the Golden Gate,
it kind of reminded me of that, but
Yeah.
Okay, let me just throw a couple in here that I saw. I remember they asked one question. They were like, "Hey, all the military has NS5s." Okay, well, if the military is all robots, why wasn't the police all robots?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's just that doesn't make sense to me. All right, if you're gonna have the military be your protection and all that, why aren't you doing the same thing? Apparently, and then the crime and everything should be much lower. You've got all these robots that are protecting everybody. So to me, the police would seem like they're kind of not needed. Okay, another one. Sonny hides among 1,000 robots in that big storeroom. Right, they're in those perfectly straight lines and all that. Well, how does Sonny get to actually hide there? Does he move one of them out of the way when they go in there to line up? To me, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no. He just absolutely bodied one of those robots into oblivion.
Well, you think Aaron Reagan went and said, "Hey, this production should have 105." They were missing 4 robots. There was 4 spots they could be standing in.
I thought she said there was 1,000, and then that's why it came up as
1,005. It was 101, like 1,001. He was missing 4 robots at the end because he was injured, so he had to go fix himself.
So he had to go take parts off of those other.
Take parts of the other ones.
Oh yeah, okay. We all discussed some stuff and find that stuff. Okay, another one I saw was so the doctor replaced Spooner's shoulder recently because if you remember, he even says, "Oh, are you sure you should be coming back to work this soon?" When his captain or whatever. So how did the doctor get out of Vicky's area to do this surgery? You can't just build Sonny overnight. It obviously took time. So either he was working on Sonny before, and if that's the case, that's fine. But then how did he get out? When they were saying he was sleeping there and all this, that to me was kind of a convenient plot hole.
We don't know when that happened. It could be happened when the NS4 pulled him out of the water. It could happen.
Yeah, that could have been 6 months ago, and it was just taking him that long to recover physically and mentally. Yeah, that's true.
So it doesn't tell you, and that's what it was, but very convenient plot hole. Say, he had another accident. Well, you gotta see, he was more reckless than drive. He didn't prefer the car driving. He drove himself. Even hey, why don't you trust the car driver? Why are you doing? You can't control the car this speed. Which you saw almost hit a car, sort of. But you never know. But to me, it happened at the accident.
Okay, and the biggest plot hole of all. How in the heck can a cop afford an Audi? His apartment was the slums,
Yeah.
And yet he's driving around in a beautiful Audi. No.
Well, I don't think it was his. I think it was maybe the police.
Oh, okay. Then we could probably then take that away.
Well,
if you say he was a detective, so maybe that was his detective car. But then why did it look like the rest of the cop car? Well, detectives don't always. They usually have on marks.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that.
Look at the police station. It wasn't the fanciest police station.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's go to our next segment. How about that? Okay, in this segment, basically we're going to talk about how would you fix or improve this movie. I can tell you the only thing for myself, I would have liked to have seen the end go on a little bit longer to kind of see what life would have been like after this movie, or have a sequel. This is what happened to the robots afterwards.
Well, I'm not going to ruin it.
Well, I mean, they haven't made a sequel.
They ain't made a sequel, but it's in the works.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just telling you this. That's just, but that would be my fix or improve it, because I really enjoyed the movie. I really did. You know, but there wasn't a lot I would change on it too much. Honestly, I mean, it's kind of weird. So, how about you, John?
I'm in the same boat. Because for us to have as few plot holes as we have doing this now, and for the story to just be good and entertaining and to make you ask questions, I think it's just really well done. To hold your attention in, what did we say, 04, with the graphics of the robots. Like, I mean, it's holding its ground still in 2024. And I give it a lot of credit for that. So there's not a whole lot I would change, really.
Same here.
Yeah. Same with you.
Same with me. That I rather know what happened afterwards. But like I said, I just saw it today that it was planning doing Albert too. So who knows?
I'll be interested to see how that turns out and what storyline they go with. You know, is it a Vicky 2.0? You know, or does Sunny turn into Vicky, something like that, or does it? You know, are they coming back to rescue people or whatever when something major happens? I mean, I don't know. That would be interesting.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to our next segment. All right. With this, we are going to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 5 lightsabers. Chad's the one that started the movie, but this time I'm going to be giving him a break, and I'm going to let him go last. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go first. And believe it or not, I'm going to give this 5 lightsabers. I enjoyed it. Like, we've already talked about it a lot. There wasn't a lot of plot holes. I mean, if they were just minute stuff. You know, it was enjoyable. It was extremely enjoyable. I would watch it again. I have watched it. I've seen it more than once. So, I mean, if it's on TV, I'm not turning it off. It's good. So I said 5. John.
I mean, I'm in the same exact boat. Like I said, I mean, anything I said in the fixing or proving applies now. It's just really well done. It's a solid 5 for me too.
Okay, Chad.
Same for me. It's a solid 5 because it's very good storyline. Even watching it in 2024, 20 years after it was made, it still holds its whole true to the story. So yeah, it's a 5.
We haven't had one of those. Let's see here. When was the last time we had straight 5s besides Rapid Con? That was it.
That was it.
That was it.
Oh no, we're getting soft, guys. We're getting soft. He brings it up one time, and now we're soft.
But no, I mean, you know, like when we started this, it was we looked at things a little differently. But you know, you didn't want to go right out. Oh, that was the best movie ever. When it wasn't, you know. So, okay. Please contact us. The best way to do that is in the YouTube comments. Just put your comment in there. We'll do our best to answer it quickly. If not, you guys can reach us on all of the social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, and X, at TheseSciFiGuys, or you can email us, TheseSciFiGuys @gmail.com. All right, we've got to talk about our next movie. It is one that I chose. It's my generation. So I'm sorry. It's a little older.
My generation.
My generation. It's a little older, but it was a good movie made by Disney because Star Wars was so big. Everyone had to do their own version of Star Wars. It is The Black Hole.
I'm intrigued.
I think it was released in 77 also, or 78. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was 78.
I think it was 78. I'll have to go back and look at that.
Hold on. Does it say down there?
I say
That's
that
what I'm
movie
trying to-
poster says 79.
79.
79. Yeah. Star-studded cast. It really had a big cast. Really good actors. So, well, I'll be interested to see what you guys think of this movie. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this was the Sci-Fi Guys. We are done with this that we talked about today, and we just want to wish you guys crash and burn.
That's a bird.
Crash and burn.